All right, so get this for today's deep dive you sent in, the Book of Lehi.
Oh, wow.
I have to admit, this thing is wild.
Really?
It's got this crazy mix of historical adventure, spiritual teachings, and even some hardcore military strategy.
Interesting.
We're talking battles, temple building in the middle of nowhere, and some really intense descriptions of heaven and hell.
Sounds pretty intense.
Where do we even begin?
Well, it claims to be written by a Maxwell,
Oh, wow.
one of Nephi's sons.
Yeah.
So we're essentially getting this secondhand account of Lehi's life and teachings filtered through the perspective of his grandson. And that perspective is fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
Right off the bat, we see Lehi as this warrior prophet,
Okay.
wielding the legendary sword of Nephi,
Whoa.
and battling trombites in a dense jungle setting.
You're telling me there's even details about trenches and a shockingly high number of casualties?
It's a brutal scene.
It reads like an action movie,
Yeah.
but I can't help but think there's a deeper meaning here.
Oh, I think there definitely is.
What do you make of this battle?
Well, it could be more than just a literal clash.
Okay.
This battle might actually represent the internal struggles
Okay.
we all experience when it comes to faith.
Oh, yeah.
Think about it. The casualties could symbolize the doubts and temptations we face in our own lives.
Whoa. That's a really interesting take. So Lehi battling the trombites is like us battling our own inner demons.
Exactly.
I like that.
And it sets the stage for Lehi's journey, both physically and spiritually.
Because right after this intense battle, the book shifts gears.
Right?
And we're on this journey with Lehi and Nephi through the jungle to a place called Toor.
Yes, Toor.
It's described as this massive city,
Huge metropolis.
but there's also this underlying feeling of darkness, like something's not quite right.
Yeah, there's definitely a sense of foreboding.
Yeah.
Toor, with all its grandeur,
Right.
also has this undercurrent of darkness.
Yeah.
Almost like a warning.
Okay, so Toor is like the ultimate test of faith.
Precisely. And it's here that we encounter Satan himself.
Whoa, really?
He's present in Toor, influencing the people,
Oh, wow.
tempting them with illusions of paradise, and turning them against each other.
And this is where the book dives into the nature of evil.
Right into the heart of darkness.
The way Satan is portrayed is so complex.
Oh, absolutely.
He's not just this all-powerful, scary figure.
No, there's more to him than that.
He's also depicted as this miserable being consumed by self-obsession.
What's fascinating here is that even after his defeat in the war in heaven,
Oh, right.
Satan continues to worship himself, his own sadness. It challenges our traditional understanding of evil.
Yeah.
It suggests that evil isn't necessarily about power or domination, but about a profound disconnect from everything that is good and true.
Okay.
It's about being trapped in a cycle of self-pity and misery.
So Lehi and Nephi arrive in this city that represents temptation,
Right.
and they find themselves facing Satan himself. It's like they've walked right into the lion's den.
And their mission becomes to help the people of Toor fight off Satan's influence.
Okay.
This isn't just a physical fight, but a battle for hearts and minds.
Gotcha.
It's about recognizing the deceptive nature of temptation and choosing the path of righteousness.
Which brings us to one of the most intriguing aspects of the book, the spirit realm.
Oh, yes.
There are all these descriptions of angels, mysterious creatures, and visions of heaven and hell.
It's a whole other dimension.
What exactly is the spirit realm supposed to be?
Think of the spirit realm as a plane of existence beyond our physical perception,
Okay.
where angels reside and souls are tested. It's like this unseen world that exists alongside our own influencing events and guiding destinies.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And Lehi seems to have a direct connection to the spirit realm, especially if he gets older and his mind starts to wander.
He does seem to have a special insight.
It's like he's getting glimpses into this other world that most people can't see.
Right, and this is where we start to see a shift in Lehi's character.
Oh, how so?
He's aging, he's experiencing moments of mental decline, and yet he's becoming more spiritually attuned.
They should.
It's like he's transitioning from a warrior to a more introspective spiritual leader.
And Toor seems to hold special significance for Lehi's descendants.
Yes, it seems to.
He has these visions of his future generations thriving in the city.
It's a recurring theme.
But given the darkness that's present there, it feels almost ominous, like a warning.
Yes, it's like he's being drawn to this place even as he senses the danger.
Yeah.
It's almost a foreshadowing of the challenges that his descendants will face.
So it's not all sunshine and roses for them.
Not exactly, no.
And this leads us to one of the central themes of the book, the importance of building and maintaining temples, even in the face of adversity.
The temples are absolutely crucial.
And the temples described in the Book of Lehi aren't those massive ornate structures we typically imagine.
No, they're much more humble.
They're built from mud and whatever resources are available.
Out of necessity, really.
They're practical, almost makeshift.
Yeah, it's not about grand displays of wealth or power.
It's about the inner commitment.
Exactly.
And that commitment is tested time and time again throughout the book.
Yeah.
This journey isn't romanticized.
No, it's not.
Lehi and his family are constantly facing threats, enduring harsh conditions, and struggling to survive.
They go through a lot.
It's a stark reminder that faith is often forged in the fires of adversity.
And it's within these makeshift temples that Lehi continues to preach, teach, and offer guidance, even as his health deteriorates.
Wow.
These temples become more than just physical structures.
Yeah.
They represent resilience, a refusal to let hardship extinguish the flame of faith.
So we've got Lehi, this warrior prophet turned spiritual guide, leading his people through this treacherous jungle, battling literal and figurative demons and building temples wherever they go.
It's quite an epic tale.
But his journey takes a deeper turn as he starts to confront his own mortality.
Ah, yes.
I'm dying to hear what happens next.
As Lehi's journey continues, his mortality becomes more and more apparent.
Yeah, it's a theme that runs parallel to the grander narrative of faith and spiritual struggle.
It's almost like you're watching a movie.
Oh, yeah.
And the main character is becoming weaker and weaker,
Mm-hmm.
but their spirit is growing stronger and stronger.
To the cool juxtaposition.
And it's in those moments of weakness, of confronting his own mortality, that Lehi delivers some of his most profound teachings.
Okay.
There's a particularly poignant scene where Lehi, bedridden and weak, requests mutton from Nephi.
Oh, I remember that scene. It's so human, so relatable. Here's this legendary figure, this warrior prophet, reduced to asking for a simple meal.
Right, and after eating, Lehi launches into this monologue about heaven, hell, and the role of angels as guardians of the spirit realm.
Whoa,
It's like this burst of spiritual energy fueled by the most basic human need for sustenance.
It's so powerful because it shows that even in our weakest moments, we can still connect with something greater than ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And those teachings delivered in a moment of vulnerability carry even more weight.
Okay.
Lehi speaks about angels guarding the spirit realm, protecting it from the influences of darkness.
So they're like guardians.
Exactly. They're ensuring that balance is maintained.
Interesting.
It reinforces the idea that even though we may feel alone in our struggles, there are forces working for good guiding us towards the light.
I like that.
Yeah, it's a comforting thought.
Yeah.
Lehi also issues some pretty dire warnings about future revolts.
Revolts.
Led by Satan's minions.
Okay.
And the destructive nature of demons.
So it's not just Satan himself they have to worry about.
No, it's like he's creating this whole army of darkness.
It sounds like he's trying to prepare Nephi and his descendants for the challenges that lie ahead.
It highlights the ongoing nature of the battle between good and evil.
Okay.
Lehi is essentially saying that this fight isn't over.
Right.
That future generations will need to be vigilant, to remember the lessons he's imparted, and to continue building those temples as sanctuaries of faith.
Those temples are really important.
They are a symbol of hope and resistance.
And those warnings aren't just general pronouncements.
No, they're very specific.
He gives very specific advice to Nephi's son, emphasizing the importance of respecting prophets, living righteously, and always remembering the power of God's love.
It's like he's speaking through Maxwell across generations, offering a roadmap for navigating the challenges of faith and leadership.
That's really cool.
The book becomes this intergenerational dialogue, a passing of the torch, so to speak.
And it's interesting how that advice coming from a dying man takes on this almost urgent tone.
There's a real sense of urgency there.
It's like he's saying, this is important, pay attention. This is what you need to know to survive.
That sense of urgency is palpable.
Yeah.
And it speaks to the central message of the book,
Which is?
that faith is an active, ongoing process. It's not something you inherit or passively accept. It's something you build, you nurture, you fight for.
This idea of active faith really resonates with me.
It's a powerful concept.
It's not just about believing.
Yeah.
It's about putting those beliefs into action.
Exactly. And that action is reflected in the building of the temples, the constant striving for righteousness, and the resistance against temptation.
So it's a constant battle.
Yeah, a battle against complacency, against the forces that would seek to weaken our resolve.
And speaking of temptation, the book's portrayal of Satan is so unique.
It is, isn't it?
We've talked about his self-worship, his misery, but there's also this element of deception. this ability to manipulate and distort reality.
Right.
How does that play into the larger themes of the book?
Well, Satan's deception plays a crucial role in highlighting the importance of discernment,
Of what?
of recognizing the difference between truth and illusion.
Okay.
It's about being aware of the subtle ways in which temptation can present itself,
Okay.
often disguised as something desirable or appealing.
It's like the old saying, don't judge a book by its cover.
Exactly. Things aren't always what they seem.
Right.
And it's up to us to look beyond the surface, to examine the underlying motivations and intentions.
So we can't just take things at face value.
No, we need to be more discerning, more critical in our thinking.
And that's a skill that's developed through the practice of faith, through studying the teachings of prophets like Lehi, and through cultivating a deep connection with the spirit realm.
It's about training our minds and hearts to recognize truth, even when it's surrounded by falsehood.
So Satan's deception serves as a reminder that we need to be constantly vigilant, to question assumptions, and to seek guidance from sources we trust.
Yes, and that vigilance requires strength, both internal and external.
So it's not just about being mentally strong.
No, it's about having a strong spiritual foundation as well.
That's why the temples are so crucial.
They are.
They provide a space for spiritual fortification, a place to gather, to learn, and to draw strength from a community of believers.
It's like those temples are not just physical structures, but spiritual anchors, helping to ground people in their faith and protect them from the storms of doubt and temptation.
That's a beautiful way to put it. They represent a refuge, a source of strength and resilience in a world that can often feel hostile to faith and righteousness.
And that resilience is what ultimately allows Lehi and his followers to not only survive, but thrive in the wilderness.
So it's not just about getting by, it's about flourishing.
Exactly. It's about finding a way to not just exist, but to truly live.
And that resilience, that strength of spirit, is what ultimately defines Lehi's legacy.
It is. It's what sets him apart.
It's not just about the battles he fought or the temples he built, but about the unwavering faith he embodied, even in the face of his own mortality.
It's a powerful testament to the enduring nature of the human spirit, the capacity for growth and transformation, even in the face of adversity.
And that, I think, is the most profound message of the Book of Lehi.
I agree. It's a message that speaks to the very core of what it means to be human.
It's a message that resonates deeply, especially in today's world, where we're constantly bombarded with challenges and distractions.
It's a reminder that faith isn't about escaping the wilderness, but about finding the strength to navigate it.
To make our way through it.
Yes, to find our path and to help others find theirs.
To build something meaningful and lasting within it.
And to share that strength with future generations.
Because ultimately, the Book of Lehi is a story about legacy, about the passing down of wisdom and faith from one generation to the next.
It's about ensuring that the flame of faith continues to burn brightly.
Okay, so we've talked about Lehi's profound teachings, the ongoing battle between good and evil, and the importance of building temples as sanctuaries of faith.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We've also touched on the deeper meaning behind the book's symbolism and the message of active, resilient faith that permeates every page.
It's a rich and complex text. It challenges our ideas about what it means to be a leader.
And what it means to have faith.
Exactly. It's not just about blindly following, it's about actively engaging with your beliefs.
And fighting for what you believe in.
Exactly, whether that's on a battlefield or in your own heart.
Wow. This has been quite a journey.
It has, hasn't it?
I feel like we've only scratched the surface of the Book of Lehi.
There's always more to uncover.
But thanks for guiding us through it. And to all our listeners out there, if you're looking for a book that will challenge you and inspire you,
and make you think,
definitely check out the Book of Lehi.
You won't regret it.
And until next time, keep diving deep and keep seeking knowledge.